There are seasons in life when weakness does not ask for permission before it enters. It just shows up. You wake up tired, not just tired from sleep, but tired from living. Your body feels heavy. Your muscles feel drained. Even simple tasks feel like mountains. And at the same time, your spirit feels low. You try to pray, but the words don't come easily. You try to focus, but your thoughts feel scattered. You try to feel faith, but everything feels distant. Weak in your body, weak in your soul. And sometimes the hardest part is that no one else sees it. You smile in public. You respond to messages. You go to work. You show up. But inside, you feel like you are running on empty. Let me say something clearly to you. Feeling weak does not mean you are failing. Feeling weak does not mean you are faithless. Feeling weak does not mean you are forgotten. Weakness is not a sign that God has abandoned you. Sometimes, weakness is the very place where God begins to rebuild you. We live in a world that celebrates strength, strength in appearance, strength in success, strength in confidence, strength in performance. But no one talks about the quiet days when you don't feel strong at all. No one posts about the nights when you sit alone and wonder why everything feels so heavy. No one applauds the silent battles you fight within yourself. But heaven sees them. God sees the days your body aches. He sees the nights your heart feels burdened. He sees the mornings when you wake up already tired. And He does not stand far away from that weakness. He steps into it. There are two kinds of weakness many people experience. The first is physical weakness. Your body may be exhausted from stress, lack of rest, overworking, or emotional strain. Stress does not just affect your thoughts. It affects your muscles, your energy, your immune system. Sometimes what you call spiritual dryness is actually your body crying out for rest. You are not a machine. You are human.
You were never designed to carry everything alone. Even the strongest person must pause. Even the most faithful believer must rest. There is no shame in slowing down. There is no sin in needing sleep. There is no weakness in saying, I need a break. In fact, wisdom often begins with rest. The second kind of weakness is spiritual. This is the heaviness you feel in your heart, the quietness in your prayers, the distance you think exists between you and God. You may sit down to pray and feel nothing. You may read a scripture and feel unmoved. You may worship and still feel empty. And then guilt creeps in. What is wrong with me? Why don't I feel close to God? Why do I feel so dry? But listen carefully. Feelings are not faith. Faith is not measured by emotional intensity. Faith is measured by trust, even when emotions are quiet. There are seasons where your spirit rests the way your body rests. A tree in winter looks lifeless, but underground, roots are still growing. Just because you feel nothing does not mean nothing is happening. Growth can be silent. Healing can be invisible. Restoration can be gradual. Sometimes weakness is not punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. There are things God strengthens inside you that only grow in quiet seasons. Patience grows in waiting. Humility grows in dependence. Compassion grows in suffering. Trust grows in uncertainty. If you never felt weak, you might never learn to lean. And leaning is powerful. When you lean on God, you stop trying to control everything. When you lean on God, you admit you cannot carry the weight alone. And that admission is not defeat. It is surrender. There are people who appear strong on the outside, but are exhausted on the inside because they refuse to admit weakness. But the person who says, Lord, I need you, is actually stronger than they realize, because pride keeps you distant, but humility draws you closer.
If you feel weak physically, care for your body. Eat properly. Rest intentionally. Step away from unnecessary stress. Move gently. Breathe deeply. Taking care of your body is not selfish. It is stewardship. If you feel weak spiritually, simplify your prayer. You don't need powerful speeches. You don't need dramatic words. Just say, God, I am here. God, I feel tired. God, hold me. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is the simplest one. Strength does not always return suddenly. It often returns slowly, like dawn. The sky does not turn bright instantly. Darkness fades little by little. That is how restoration works. You may not wake up tomorrow feeling perfect, but you might feel slightly lighter, and the next day, a little clearer, and slowly, strength returns. And one day you look back and realize you survived a season you once thought would break you. Weakness can teach you things strength never could. It teaches you empathy for others who struggle. It teaches you gratitude for small victories. It teaches you to appreciate ordinary days. It teaches you that you are not invincible, and that is okay. You do not have to be strong every day. You do not have to be fearless every moment. You do not have to carry everyone else while ignoring yourself. There are days when surviving is enough. There are days when simply getting out of bed is victory. There are days when whispering a prayer is strength. And if today is one of those days for you, be gentle with yourself. Stop comparing your energy to others. Stop measuring your faith by someone else's fire. Stop condemning yourself for being human. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to need help. You are allowed to rest. And here is the promise you can hold on to. Weakness is temporary. It may feel long. It may feel heavy. It may feel overwhelming. But it is not permanent. Storms do not last forever. Night does not defeat morning. Fatigue does not cancel destiny. Dryness does not cancel calling.
You are not disqualified because you are tired. You are not rejected because you are struggling. You are not forgotten because you feel weak. In fact, some of the strongest people in history were those who walked through seasons of deep weakness and refused to give up. Not because they felt powerful, but because they chose to trust. Trust is not loud. Trust is steady. Trust says, I don't understand this season, but I will not let go. And sometimes the greatest strength is simply choosing not to quit. So if you feel weak today, physically and spiritually, pause, breathe, release the pressure to be perfect, release the pressure to impress, release the pressure to perform, and say quietly, I may feel weak right now, but I am not finished. Let your body rest. Let your spirit breathe. Let God carry what you cannot, because the same hands that formed you are able to sustain you. And even in your weakness, there is still hope. Even in your tiredness, there is still purpose. Even in your silence, there is still presence. You are not alone in this season. Strength is not gone. It is being rebuilt. And one day soon, you will rise with a deeper resilience than you have ever known. Not because you never felt weak, but because you walked through weakness and discovered that you were held the entire time.